Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities. We're going to work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it together. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all of these areas and topics and subjects looking for potential investment opportunities. I'm more of a longer term investor. I look out in the future, look for imbalances in the market, buy things when they're way down, and then wait for those imbalances to basically show up. We recently did that with natural gas. We bought that in the middle of 2024, and now it's all kind of playing out with big moves higher in the natural gas companies in America. And I think there's other big setups that are occurring right now where things are bottoming. And then when you look out 12 to 18 months, we could start to see a shift in money rotation. So if that interests you, if that sounds exciting, we do have discount as the coupon code if you'd like to sign up. And we do have a Sunday question and answer session at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Let's dive in. Let's take a look, see what's going on today. We've got the dollar. And again, this looks pretty weak. We've got this big selling pressure candlestick here on Monday, the 20th. We have a rising wedge, a breakout, and then we've got the potentially bloody nose type scenario where you get these flag patterns that develop and we start to stair step down lower. So that is a possibility. We're also starting to see strength in commodity-based currencies against the dollar, and that will do well for those countries eventually when a trend starts to develop and people notice that trend. That money flows could change as that trend develops and matures. The 2-year yield up slightly. Is this a legit breakdown? Not yet. I think we really need to see some follow through here. What you generally do is you want to see a trend or a pattern break, say outward, and then we want to see it clear and make a new low. Then I would say, yep, that's pretty much confirmed. So a lot of the times you break down and then you do a retest, and that is what we could be doing. So we want to watch this next week, for another week or so of trading and see how this trades. The 10-year yield also is up today, 0.7%. We've got a little bit of a downtrend that's forming. You can also throw in potential. This is what I mean by potential, kind of like a rising wedge, perhaps, that's broken to the downside. We'll see if this continues lower, though, on the 10-year yield. And then the 30-year yield also slightly higher today. We are sitting on top of a lot of these patterns. There's the 30-year and the 10-year, and we have to see them break down if it does break lower. And that's not what I'm calling for. I'm just stating that's what has to happen for me to get bearish on yields. TYX, TNX ratio, we are moving sideways in this ratio right now. It's at a very low point compared to history. There's your low point in history, and we've been inverted in this ratio here. Whenever it stops inverting, this is where the orange circles are. Those have been basically ideal entry points for buying gold. So those were excellent entry points to buy gold at both of those times. TLT bond prices down a little bit as yields go up. We are still, again, stuck in the mud here. This is a lot of resistance support, and that's currently where we're located. And we've got a lot of resistance ahead of us in terms of that's sitting right on top of us, which is all through here. The 2 and 10, the yield curve uninverted a little bit today, but the momentum is still to the upside. The curve is uninverting. Gold's up about $8 an ounce. We have broken out of this pattern here, and we're sitting up, and we've broken through this guy here today, which means we've got a new high potentially. So we could start to run here in gold. I don't play these short-term moves. I mean, again, I'm an investor in this. What I did is I purchased along this way, in this general area here. That's where I purchased a good chunk of gold, and I've been riding it, and I've swapped a little bit along the way into platinum when platinum was really really cheap, which occurred in uh, I swapped a little bit in April of 2020, wherever that is, somewhere like in here, when platinum was way way down. But I'm riding this to the upside. It looks good, and that looks like it's good to continue. There's your fractal there of this breakout, and it is running higher. Silver is down slightly today. There's your other fractal there, and then the breakout. We've broken out of a lot of resistance to the upside with silver. Uh, we are right underneath resistance as we speak right here. So we're squeezing up under resistance. We'll see if we can get a breakout. Generally, when you break through these things, you'll see a big green candlestick, real big, like a 3, 4, 5% up day. If it were to break through this resistance. And again, I look at the big picture view here. I'm not a short-term trader. That's not my game. I actually like to make lots of money, not lose money. So yeah, I purchased a bunch in this location there, 2018. There, I purchased some in this, over here too, various things, and I'm riding this bull market higher here. I think we've got a long way to go higher, a long way. I do think that we'll probably break out and do a retest like that, and do something on the lines of that. That's my guess of what we'll do. I do think that we have broken through a lot of resistance, and this move very well could accelerate to the upside at some point. Platinum still squeezing like a beast into the corner here. We've got a very big long-term pattern. There's your three hump consolidation. Your three hump consolidation was there. Came on down, and we squeezed up in the corner, squeezed up in the corner. Very similar fractal across all this. I think that this here is this here. That's what I think is going on, and I think we're going to see a big, big move. The move, if I were to take a guess in platinum, let's do a quick little extension here. I think we are going probably 5 or 6 grand would be my guess, or higher. It could go much higher than that, but that's the third, the next leg is what I'll call it, somewhere up there. Palladium, we've pulled back to support. We are bouncing off that support. We had a falling wedge here, the three hump consolidation wedge, and we are starting to work our way on up. It looks really good for Palladium to continue higher. We are now eclipsing $1,000 an ounce. Very nice. GDX down slightly, GDXJ up slightly, and SILJ down about 1%. We're up against a little bit of resistance for some of these, but overall, guys, I think that this is more or less a launching pad. So I think that this is a launching pad. We will eventually, as silver breaks out and gets above that big cup and handle, I think we'll eventually get up and then rip. I mean, rip. It's going to catch a lot of people off guard, and a lot of people are going to be bearish on silver when it occurs, and then they'll turn bullish after the price goes up many hundreds of percents. In my account is what I'm going to guess, as people start to chase and run after the returns. XAU to gold ratio down 1%. We're still above a lot of critical support areas. This is gold and silver miners versus gold. We're at an incredibly low area. So think of this as kind of the channel that we were trading in, and then we went to extremely low levels. Could be almost like a false breakdown slingshot. And we are really cheap levels here. That's XAU to gold. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there. We've broken this downtrend line. We're still above support at the intersection of those two support levels. Crude oil down 0.5. So crude oil, we're right at support. Some people think that they draw it above all the little tips there, and that this is actually should be drawn like this. which I don't. There's no way there. What I typically do is you want to put it off the closing prices of these, and then the closing prices can change based off of if it's a weekly candlestick, a monthly, or whatever. But the way that I see it is that we're doing a retest here for the most part. I would be a buyer and I'd be looking for a potential move higher in crude oil. That also links up with all of the fundamentals that I follow, commercial inventories, refilling the SPR, the struggles of shale to increase production, the unwillingness for people to drill at the current price. It's all interconnected. TTF gas down 2.64%, but we're still in this up channel. Still looks good. And it still looks bullish. That's not a bearish setup there. That's a bullish setup. Natural gas in America cruising higher, up 6.23%. We're right at that long-term support level. The long-term support level is this guy here. It's resistance support. And I think we are going to get above it and rip. I think we're going way higher over time. We've got a lot of LNG capacity, all that stuff. The fundamentals look absolutely insane for natural gas all the way into the early 2030s. So nat gas is going to be a big move. And it will stay elevated too, I think. XOP, XOP, yeah, you know me. I always say that. Again, shoulder, head, shoulder. We had a small down day in oil today. We had a small down day in XOP. We're right above or on top of that support resistance area. We did break through it, and we'll see if we can get some support here right where we're located. OIH getting a little bit more selling pressure. We're back to this resistance support area, and we got some selling pressure today down 2.88%. The energy service guys are a little bit lagged behind the exploration production companies. So we could loop back around. We could do whatever we want. Overall, though, longer term, energy service, I think, will be bullish. We have to drill more. Just period. Newcastle coal futures down. It's about 2%, but it is working its way on up. So we did bottom here, and I think it will work its way on up, whatever pattern it creates. We've got a Sprout Physical Uranium Trust down 1.76. A little bit of a reversal candlestick there with that big wick. A little bit of selling pressure is what I'll say. But we're still inside the big pattern, so just it's you versus yourself. It's all about patience. Now, if I were to look at this, we've got a bullish engulfing here. We have small selling pressure there. That screams that it wants to break to the upside. It's going to be soon, I think. This is measured in months, though, so soon it could be a couple more months or whatever. I don't know the exact timing, but this is a good setup. It's a bullish setup. And I think we're going to break and run quite a bit higher. Like the big move is coming. Uranium futures pricing is also in this falling wedge, and we're right at the tip of it. We've got a big bullish candlestick here, and then the small selling pressure that screams that we are ready for potentially a big move. So I think we're going to run here. I don't know. I don't want to try to put a timeline on it. I just know that the setup, it looks good. The setup looks good. URA, we're seeing positioning in the ETFs. So that's up 4%. URNM is up 4.45 or 4.5%. And then URNJ is up 6%. And we are cutting through some resistance. This could be the precursor to that move that I was talking about in the physical. Copper down, right on support. There's your support line. We're right into that support level, and we'll see if we can get some bounce off of it. COPX down 2.65. This isn't incredibly bullish. Usually you get a downward move, consolidates, and then you might get another downward move or something like that in the markets here. So it still looks a little bit bearish on that perspective. I don't think I'd be just jumping in here, but I'd be looking for a potential turning point at some point. Copper may underperform given the market conditions, and I'll talk about that in the next video I do tomorrow and get released tomorrow. Iron ore just tracking sideways. We are squeezing into this corner here. Squeeze, and that hasn't broken yet. But this is generally the precursor to a very, very, very big move. And that looks very well squeezed. Whenever you see an entry of this squeeze, so the squeeze started here. When you've got a big entry like this, generally that's a bigger move on the backside. So if you were to get a big entry like this, and then squeeze down like that, usually you get a real big move on the exit. Aluminum down slightly right at that resistance area again. We've got nickel up 1.27. That's looking a little bit better. And I do think nickel could easily work its way on up, putting in a double bottom within the double bottom. Yeah, very nice. Move down slightly. That is not a huge selling pressure candlestick. Momentum is still upward. We've got emerging markets moving sideways. It's been tracking sideways. A weaker dollar will push this higher with time. We need to establish a weaker dollar trend. KRE down slightly, still looks okay. We've got TAN down 3 point something%. This is going to be a horrible probably spot to be with Trump. Lithium down 1.5%. We're right on that support zone or support line. We're right on top. It is a bullish setup because we've got a larger upward move and then the sell off. So that usually stair steps higher. REMX down slightly. Another one that I think is probably bullish on a weekly candlestick. Yeah, it's still bullish on the weekly. And we're above support, so still looks good. Baltic Dry Index down about 3%. Still getting some selling pressure here. Surprised. We had this this is a pretty steep falling wedge, so it may not be that legit, but it's trying. Maybe there's still some selling pressure there that we have to go a little bit lower before we move on up. XHB moving sideways. It is holding on. We do have a rising wedge before it, and that's generally a bearish situation. But we'll see what occurs. Russell 2000 down slightly. Still looks bullish to me to go higher. Small red candlestick. Bloody nose is what I call them. SPX up. It's broken through that resistance. It's bullish at the moment. It's got some resistance coming through here. NASDAQ up. That's breaking out of this pattern to the upside. Bullish. SMCI also up 4%. Still looks bullish to me. NVIDIA up 4.4%. That's broken the resistance trend line. So we came up. Bullish formation. Huge reversal candlestick to sell off. And then they somehow saved this thing. But I've seen a lot of evidence of a lot of distribution in NVIDIA. That's what these big red candlesticks and these downward moves, those are all distribution all through there. Selling pressure. Bitcoin down 2.8%. It's still a bullish formation to go higher. Ethereum down 2.5%, but we're still squeezing on top of a support area in a falling wedge, which is a bullish formation. Then MSTR down slightly, but it still looks good. We've got much greater upside buying pressure versus the selling pressure. And that still looks good to potentially try to go higher with Bitcoin. And then the VIX is just moving sideways. No updates there on the VIX. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. We've got a question and answer session coming up 5 p.m. Mountain Time on Sunday. So we'll see you there. And we've got discount coupon code still active if you'd like to sign up. That's all I've got. So we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.